Today, or this week on Sunday at Kampala Baptist Church, we're going to be talking about the goodness of God. This is another of the attributes. We've been doing a series on attributes, attributes of God, and today we're going to talk about the goodness of God. Now, we could do it maybe like systematically go through the Bible, look at every verse that talks about the goodness of God, but I don't think that that would be the most satisfying way. Instead, I'd like us to use the kind of the entry point which Psalm 73 gives us. In Psalm 73, the psalmist declares quite clearly that surely God is good to Israel and to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet had almost slipped. I had nearly lost my foothold, for I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. I'd like us to just note that beginning and this entry, because into understanding the attribute of the goodness of God. I think most of us would have no problem affirming that God is good. And we probably could give some testimonies about what we feel that God is good. But, because even the psalmist, having said that surely God is good to Israel and to all those who are pure in heart, he says, but as for me, my feet had almost slipped. And I think this entry point is actually down to earth. It starts from where we are. We could read the Bible and list all the verses that talk about God's goodness, but that will not remove the realities of things we experience, many of which appear to contradict the goodness of God. And the psalmist was in that type of situation. He knew that God is good. He had testimony that God is good. He had experienced the goodness of God. But at this particular point, he was in this place where he felt that things were not fine. God didn't appear to be as good because of some of the struggles, some of the challenges, the regret, the bitterness, the pain. He was going through one of those moments. And it didn't seem quite clear that God was good. And I think most of us will identify with that yes, we know that God is good. We've heard our pastors talking about it, preachers and books have been written about it. But yet we struggle in our lives, and maybe we're in pain, maybe we're at the end of ourselves. Some of us may even be about to give up or cease believing that God is good. Some of us may even believe that we are either cursed or unfortunate, or maybe God has forgotten all about us. This psalm helps us to begin from there. And as we read through the psalm, you will see the struggle of the psalmist. At some point he says, I regretted. He says that surely in vain have I kept myself pure. In vain have I washed my hands in innocent. And then he says, when I considered all this, it was just too much. I was disgusted until I entered the sanctuary of God. Then I understood their final end. Then I understood God's plan, that God is truly good. He was not letting evil get out with it, or evil people get out with it. God has not forgotten about me. God has not forgotten about you. And during the sermon this Sunday, we're going to go back to Genesis to understand where does goodness come from. Because goodness is actually such a common, we use it all the time. A good car, good food, a good degree, a good person, a good story. A good tree, a good judge, a good teacher. I mean, good is written everywhere in life. It's one of those properties without which we cannot function. In fact, we couldn't understand life if life weren't good to a certain extent. It would be unbearable. So we'll go back to Genesis and we'll read and we'll see that at every stage of creation, it says that God saw that what he had created was good. When he created the sun and the moon, it was good. When he created the trees and the plants, it was good. When he created the fish of the sea and other creatures, in the marine creatures, it was good. And actually, when he finally created the human being and Adam and Eve, it says he was very good. So good is written in the way that God has created the world. And we need to remind ourselves of that in order to realize that the bad things that happen to us are not part of what God created and intended. But they have come as a result of the fall. And often the results of the fall overshadow what the goodness of God in life. It doesn't mean that bad things won't happen, but the goodness of God abides. And so good is actually a quality that God has infused in life. We are good. We can be good. We can do good things because God is good. There is whatever is good about life or in your experience comes from the fact that God created it good. Now, finally, as I finish on this, and hopefully some of you will join us at Kampala Baptist Church on Sunday, or perhaps some of you will listen online when the sermon is posted. But we're going to spend some time studying that, and we shall end with this: that good is rooted in God Himself. There is goodness in the world in spite of the evil that happens. There is goodness in the world because God is good. And because God is good and He has created us with the capacity for good, goodness imposes an obligation for us also to do good, to live out the good that God has given us, that God has put in us. And that's actually what he means, and I'll read this from Matthew. He says, Matthew chapter 5 says, "You've heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be the sons of your Father in heaven. He causes His sun to rise on the evil and the good. He sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous." God's goodness is indiscriminate. He does not discriminate. And therefore, goodness is not something that we have to make an argument for. To the extent that we are God's children, and this is who God is and how He is, we're supposed to do good no matter what, even when there's no reward, even when there's no thank you, because our Father in heaven is good. God bless you.